evening. This is Noreen Sumter from Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way. And it is Tuesday evening, and Tuesday evening is always my favorite time of the week because I get to play with you and I get to have you visit with me on the show. Yay! So I'm extra happy today. I had a really good day. I had my Lunch and Learn, which is an event that I do every month with NABO, which is the National Association of Women Business Owners. And today we went over our 40 mark. We have 40 guests come to listen to Miss Robin Hatcher, as you all know, who was on the show 2 weeks ago, talking about she's a speech coach. And so it was a really great event. Everybody went away with some really good learning about what it is and how it is to speak clearly, speak effectively, to be heard, understood, and to be liked and appreciated when you actually get on the stage to start speaking. Because, you know, speaking is one of those things that, like, you get on immediately and people start judging you, right? They're judging what you're wearing, they're judging how you're speaking, they're judging every damn thing. Well, anyway, so that was a really great event. And but this week I've been dragging a little bit. You know, I don't know if it's the weather, but I know there's been a lot of people who have been sick. I'm not sick, but my energy is really low. And I think it is because I have not taken my vitamins in a week and a half. Now, I was not a big vitamin taker. And then all of a sudden I said, let me try it on. I'll try on the vitamins. And I started taking them. But what I do is I take trace minerals. So I take a little bit of magnesium. I take some potassium. I take some iodine. I take B12. And I take, what else do I take? Vitamin D. And I take some of these like vitamins that help to keep your blood sugar intact. Because as you all know, I am experiencing the beaties. And so I hadn't taken it for a week and a half because I ran out. And I thought, I'll be fine, because it wasn't something that I was always taking. It was just something that I started taking like maybe 6 months ago, right? And I never took vitamins because I don't want my body to get accustomed to anything, like, you know, become addicted to taking certain things. But what I realized is that my body really needs it. And I guess I'll be taking those vitamins for the rest of my life now, even though I didn't want to. But they do make a difference, and I can feel the difference in my body since I have, you know, haven't taken them for a week and a half. And so I've been dragging and feeling really sort of sluggish. I've got high energy anyway, but I know when my energy is really low, and it is low right now. But anyway, less of me. And let's talk about why and what the show is tonight. The show was actually going to be, and it will still be, about that, The Seat of the Soul, which is, I've been reading this Gary Zukov book, and I really love it. I love that he's talking about like things that I've always been interested in, like your intuition and karma and your heart. And he's given me a clear understanding about what those things are. So, but we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first of all, I want to introduce you to one of my most favorite people on the planet, apart from myself. I am my most favorite person, but this is my second best favorite person. I love this man. His name is Mr. Mike Blocker. And Mike Blocker is a sex coach, relationship coach. And he's really good because
life coach.
He's a relationship coach because I've used him and and I've used him and he does work. I mean, he makes a lot of sense. And I just, as my friend, I wanted to bring him onto the show tonight, even though I was going to do the show on my own. But what better way to do the show than to have my buddy here, Mike. So Mike, welcome to my show, which you've heard a lot about, and I know you weren't expecting to be on the show, and you're not feeling very well, but I really appreciate you being. Yeah, I appreciate you being here. So tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Wow. So as you said, I am a life coach. Been doing that for probably 7-8 years, maybe a little longer. Well-traveled, well-read, well-versed. A lot of experience, been around the world a couple of times, did a lot of things. And now I just love sharing myself with people and making a difference for others. And I like to keep it real, as they say,
Uh-huh.
and that's a little bit about me. There's a whole lot more, but that's the
So,
surface few sentences.
so you know Gary Zukov, right? The book
Yes, I
Gary
do
Zukov.
know
What
about
are your
Seat of the
thoughts
Soul.
about it? Like, what's your thoughts about all of these?
So I haven't read the whole book, but I've
Mhm.
seen him on. I saw him on Soap Sundays with Oprah Winfrey.
Right.
That's how I found out about it.
Right.
And one thing that I took away from that he said that really landed and stuck with me was that karma is based on your intention.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never heard it put that way. So it's not necessarily what you do, it's what you intend to do.
Right.
So that was moving. That was pretty deep. And the book is on. I actually bought it. I just haven't read it yet. So it's on my to read list.
I'm still reading it
bookshelf.
over and over again, and I've listened to it because I have it on Audible, and I've listened to it like over a dozen times. And, you know, every time I listen to it, I get something new. And what I liked about karma is that, you know, we have it like you do something bad, something bad's going to happen to you. It's that as well. But it, like you said, it's our intention, right? What we intend to do, what our thoughts are, how we think bad. If we think bad things are going to happen to us. If we think bad things for another person, what happens is it magnetizes it and sort of has it happen to us.
Yes.
Right. And he's like, if you, I just love this book. And, you know, of course I'm having it on the show tonight. And so guess what happens? I leave it on the countertop. Right. I leave the damn book on the countertop. What, you know, what's that about? Right. But, so I was at, you know, the event today and, getting ready to come here, and I'm like, oh my God, I left the book on the countertop, you know, and I wanted to skim it because when you're reading stuff, unless there's somebody asking you questions about it, it's really hard to talk about it. Like, so now I don't have the book and I'm like, but anyway, we're going to do the best that, we're going to do the best that we can. I just moved the mic. Is it bad? Okay, great. So what else? He talks about the heart. He talks about intuition. Intuition is like, well, I'm sweating like a banshee, right? Intuition is one of those things that I am really, really big on. And I listen to my intuition because it speaks to me. Mine speaks out really loud, right? Yes. And my intuition actually will curse me out. Well, I don't know. Is it really my intuition, or is it that inner voice telling me, Noreen, just do it? Or Noreen, it's very, very loud. Mine is. And I literally fight with it. Like I'll hear oh my God, sweating. I'll hear my intuition say something like, you know, I remember once I was dating this guy and it told my intuition, I was riding home in the cab and my intuition said to me, Google him. And I was like, no. And my intuition said, Google him. And I was like, no. I'm not going to do that, right? Because I didn't want to Google the person. I wanted, you know, because in this day and age, you can like Google everybody, yes, right? Can. But what's the mystery? What's the fun, right? Anyway, I finally relented and I Googled the person. And I found out, I'm not going to go into the whole subject because it is somebody's private life and everything, but I found out a whole world about him. And I got very nervous in the beginning, but I thought to myself, why am I being nervous? You know, why am I being nervous? I just met the person, you know what I mean? And so I called them up to ask them a question about what I had read. And so they said to me, I can't really go into what it was, but they said to me, do you need more time to talk about this, or is it something that could take like 5 minutes? And I said, you know what? You know, I know you're going away on a trip for the weekend. Let's talk about when we get back, because I was giving the person space to communicate and, you know, because they probably knew what I was going to talk about or what I was asking them. But I said, let me give them space, because what do I need to worry about? And what I learned out of that interaction is that what I got for myself out of that interaction is that I can be with anything. I can be with anything and anyone, right? And that people have the right to their privacy, even if it is in the public domain and you can read about it. I think people have the right to their privacy, and they have the right to be able to tell you what they want to tell you when they want to tell you. And I had no right to sort of invade the space and put the question out there, and we hadn't even gotten involved yet. So, but it was good that I actually listened to my intuition and didn't continue to fight with it, because had I gone further down the road with this person, it could have been very devastating. What do you think? You know the story.
Well, I know the story, yeah. And I'm glad you did Google this gentleman, and because you knew there was something.
Yeah, my intuition told me there was something that was
something was off, and we had talked about that, and your intuition was there, and you just confirmed it when you did the Google search. So I'm glad you did, and I have similar experiences like that where my intuition tells me something, and it's just a feeling you get.
Yeah,
and there's no evidence or proof out here in the world. It's just something in my gut.
Right.
And mine has never been wrong, like never, ever. Every time I sense something, later on, I always find out that there was a reason why my spidey sense, I call it my spidey sense.
I took that from you as well, because you say spidey sense. I use spidey sense.
Spidey sense is tingling. I'm like, something's going on here. So I believe you got to trust your intuition.
Right.
That's I think it's a higher form of communication that we have that we don't really use and develop.
Right.
But it's there.
I agree.
And I just listen to it because it pretty much always lets me know when something is there that's not seen.
Right.
So trust it. Trust your gut. Trust your gut.
All right. So we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network. Are you stuck in a rut? Negative thoughts, feelings, and conversations got you down? Hi, I'm Noreen Sumter, the Potentiator. Tune in every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time and listen for new ideas on my show, Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way, on talkradio.nyc.
Who do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo!
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
My week. So this is Noreen Sumter, and we're back. We're back with one of my best friends. Well, actually, you're one of my only best friends, actually, because I don't really have best friends. The closest thing that I came to a best friend was KIM. But you know what I also realized about friendships and stuff like that? People don't, like, we choose who we want to have friends and be friends with, right?
Yes.
And as long as we're engaging with the people and having a really good time, they don't have to choose to be friends with us. Like, they don't have to choose to be our best friends, right? They can just choose to interact with it. I mean, there are people that I like to hang out with, but I wouldn't call them my best friends. And I think that I haven't really had a real best friend since I was 14. Right.
Wow, I feel special.
Yeah, and my best friend at the time was Lorraine, and she got expelled from school, right? And so in that moment, I decided that I'm not going to have a best friend because I can be friends with a lot of people. I can be friends with everyone, right? To a degree, everyone, right? There's space for everyone.
Okay.
And so with that as well, people do things that you're interested in. Right? They'll do fun things that you might want to go along with them and just hang out. Doesn't mean you're best friends. You're just enjoying the time with them. You're enjoying that moment. What do you think?
Are you asking me what do I think about best friends?
Do you have a best friend? It better be me, damn it.
Well, you are definitely on the best friend list. I
Uh-huh.
would say I probably have a few people that fall in that category. And it's the people who share themselves with me intimately, and I share myself intimate. And it's the people that our relationships, stand the test of time.
Right.
We work through stuff. We're always there for each other. And
what do you think it takes to
definitely-
actually be a best friend or to have a really good friendship?
I mean, you don't set out to create a best friend. It just kind of happens.
Right.
You just meet the people, and the next thing you know, hey, I like this person, and you just start hanging out with them, and next thing you know, you're close to them. But I think one of the key things is that you share yourself intimately. Like love is sharing. Remember that little thing? Love is sharing. And so when somebody shares themselves with you and you share yourself back, and then they allow you, accept you as you are, and they aren't trying to change you and say, then that creates a space to create that best friend thing.
Right.
But you can't do it with somebody that's judging you or telling you you need to change. Or
have you ever
and
been
when
in
you
a
do that-
situation where people are judging you and telling you to change? I've been in a situation where people have judged me and said, oh, I really like your hair. I really love it. Especially guys. I really like your hair. I think it's really great. Then you start dating them and they're like, oh, no, can you change your hair, please? I don't like it.
You're asking a black man in America, has he ever been in a situation where people judge him? Are you serious? Oh my God.
Go ahead, share, bro.
A lot. Okay.
Okay.
Happens all the time.
So give me a scenario.
You might not believe this, but even recently I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and I still was a, Caucasian woman coming down the street, and she saw me. She clutched her purse and kind of walked her. I mean, it still happens sometimes.
Right.
There was some judgment in that. You know? I mean, I could get over there in her world and realize she probably was afraid, but it made me go, wow, like, you think I'm going to do something to you? Like, you really believe that? It happens. It happens.
And what is that? I mean, honestly, what is that like for you? I mean, I know, but I'm not going to assume to understand what that is like for you.
It used to really bother me.
Right.
It used to bother me a lot until I can get over there in that person's world. And I have empathy for them because I go, wow, what's your life like that you're afraid of, just any
innocent black man walking down the street. Right.
And you think that I'm going to harm you or hurt you. So now I feel sorry for her because I'm like, she must live in constant fear.
Right.
Especially in Atlanta. There's a whole bunch of black men walking up and down the street there.
Right.
So it doesn't bother me like it used to. It does bother me when it takes place in the work environment.
Okay.
That bothers me when I get judged about my ability and who I am, and then it bothers me in relationships.
Okay.
Other than that, I let it roll.
So how does it land for you as a man that's like being judged by somebody that you're intimately involved with in a relationship? And what is the thing that they always want you to change?
Well, the biggest thing that women have asked me to change is I don't believe in monogamy. We've had this conversation. I'm into open relationships, and I value freedom more than security. And most women want more security than freedom. So that's the biggest thing that I think women have wanted me to change, is that I like my freedom.
Right.
And they, most women, in my opinion, adhere to the fairy tale story, princess for a day, Cinderella, married, meet a guy, he sweeps you off your feet, and y'all live happily ever after.
Right. And he never looks at another woman again.
Yes, marriage is part of that. And so a lot of women have wanted me to give that up. They're like, oh, why do you have to have all these female friends? Or why do you have to see other women? And the way I see it is most people are doing it anyway, just on the down low, sneaking. And I just put it out there. So that's one thing I'm judged with constantly.
Mike and I have a really close relationship. We talk at least once a week, or sometimes more than that. Sometimes every day. It just depends, right? It depends on what's going on in between both our lives and everything. And so have you've had girlfriends that have said they don't want me and you talking together anymore?
Oh yeah, I've had girlfriends that believe me and you are involved.
Right.
And but again, those women think I'm involved with everybody. I give a girl from class a ride home, and that's a 3-week argument,
Right.
So
And so what would you say to like a man that, no, let me preface the conversation this way. So do you believe, because I heard this when I first came to this country a lot, that and actually I was married, when I was married, my husband wanted me to give up all my male friends that I had in England, and that was just not going to happen. Right. My conversation was that I've been friends with them before I met you, and I'll probably still be friends with you when you're gone. Not that I was expecting him to be gone or anything like that, but like that's just kind of how I saw it. Like, you know, divorce is sort of high in our society, and even though I was thinking I was going to be married forever, and forever whatever that was, it didn't work out. But yeah, I wasn't going to give up my friends.
No, and I've done that before.
You've given up your friends?
Oh yeah, and then I break up with the girl. Now I got to go back and restore things with my friends. Right. I'm not doing that anymore.
So what would you advise? I'd love to have this conversation on a wild, big open plane.
But one day we got to set this up.
What would you advise a guy to do if he's got like a really good girlfriend? He's not having sex with her. He's never had sex with her. So they're just good friends.
I'm a big advocate of the truth.
Right.
You know, they like to say the truth will set you free, or it'll set the other person free.
Right.
So just tell the truth and let it go the way it goes.
Right.
Most of us try to control the outcome of the relationship in every situation, and that normally doesn't work.
Right.
So I would tell a guy or a girl, just be honest. Me and my current girlfriend recently just had this conversation because we had, you know, set up some parameters for our relationship that I felt like were a little bit too restraining for her. Like she needed more room to play. And so I just say, hey, look, what do you really want? You know, just tell me what you really want and we can work this out. So we had that conversation, you know, and I told her what I really wanted. And so now we're exploring that as a new option.
Right.
You know, and it felt good just to have the conversation.
So basically, can you say it's just more monogamy? Is that what it was?
No, less monogamy.
Explain. I don't understand.
No. So she wanted more freedom to, you know,
go out and have
chit
fun.
And chat and have fun. And when I'm out of town, I travel a lot with work. So she's like, hey, when you go out of town, I would like to, you know, go out on a date. She's attractive and other men are, you know, hey, sexy. And she likes that attention. Who doesn't? So she's like, I want to be able to go out on a date and have fun and, you know, almost like be single when you're not around, when you're gone. It bothered me a little bit. It made me feel like, man, I'm not enough. But, you know, I let it go because I see it like that's over there. That's what she wants and that's what she needs. And I'm not going to judge her because I don't want to be judged. And then I was present to the fact that many of my relationships, it was the opposite. I was the person saying, I want my freedom. And if you can't deal with it, then deuces, you know, that's how I was. Right. So I'm a little more mature now. So I can handle it, you know, and I have to practice what I preach, you know, and that would make me a hypocrite if I didn't. So since I've been talking about these open relationships and this freedom, now I'm actually in a relationship with someone that wants it as much as me, right? That I actually can do it with integrity. Right. In the past, I kind of did it like, you know, like I'm doing this and I don't care what you think, or I was, you know, sneaking and doing it on the down low. Right. And I never felt good about that. I never felt good knowing that I'm lying to this woman who I love, or I was upset when I found out that they were lying to me. Right. So again, I go back to this. Start with the truth. Just be honest, you know, be you. Right. And there's some woman out there or man that wants the same thing. And when you're living in that, remember we talked about the seat of the soul. Right. Your intention, your karma is based on that. So if your intention is to be honest and be truthful and live that lifestyle, somebody who agrees with you is going to show up. Absolutely. Guaranteed. You know what's so cool about what you just mentioned is that in the book, The Seat of the Soul, Gary Zukov talks about, he was a sex addict, right? He was like really addicted to sex, and he met his wife, but she annoyed him because she was like, she wanted to give hugs and she was loving to everybody. And he was like, I don't want any, basically, I'm paraphrasing, I don't want any of your stinking hugs. Right. That was something else. I don't want none of your stinking hugs. I don't want nothing to do with you. And so what he found was that every time he went away on this trip with his friends and stuff like that, and he found that a friend had saved him a seat. And
another friend had saved her a seat, so he was always in her space, and she was always in his space, and people would like invite her somewhere, to invite him somewhere, and he was like, what is this, right? Because she was being loving and kind and generous and expanding out, and he was like really retractive, and he didn't do intimacy, he didn't do relationships, like he screwed, he had sex, he was all about that, and sex, he realized that sex is not love. No, sex is not intimacy. It's just an act. But anyway, he says, the long story short of it was that he didn't want to be with this woman. And then he had to resign himself to the fact that I want to get to know this woman intimately, but not sexually. Right.
The woman he was already with.
No, the woman that he was trying to get away from. That was always giving away free hugs and all this kind of stuff. And so what happened was that he was living somewhere in California, and they were talking on the phone, and he was saying he heard that she was coming to town, coming to the neighborhood, moving to this area, and he was like, but then he said he had to check himself. Right, he checked himself, and then they became friends, and like 150 years later, he's married to her.
Oh wow!
Right.
That's
so what he learned from her was how to be intimate, how to be loving, how to share himself, because he said he was a bit of a hermit. He was a bit of a hermit until Oprah found him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I heard that.
Yeah. So I mean, I wish I had, I can read the summary, but I'll do that when we get back. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Do you love, or are you intrigued about New York City and its neighborhoods? I'm Jeff Goodman, host of Rediscovering New York, a weekly show that showcases New York's history and its extraordinary neighborhoods. Every Tuesday live at 7 p.m., we focus on a particular neighborhood and explore its history, its vibe, its feel, and its energy. Tune in live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Do you like comic books and movies? How about TV and pop culture? Then you've come to the right place. Hi, I'm Michael Dolce, host of Secrets of the Sire. Joined every week by my co-host Hassan, Lord of the Radio Godwin. Together, we have over 15 years' experience creating graphic novels, screenplays, and more. Join us as we bring you the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
And we're back. This is Noreen Sumter on Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way. And I am with Mr. Blocker tonight. And I know Mike's name so well that I will not make a mistake. Like I have this thing that I make mistakes with, every other week or so, I make mistakes with people's names, but I am apologetic. I do apologize for it because the names get stuck in my head, or I make up some story about them and it just gets stuck, but I guess it's a part of my character sometimes. So we talked about a bunch of stuff back then. We talked about freedom, we talked about trust, we talked about being honest, we talked about monogamy and freedom, relationships, people wanting you to change, and what does it take to maintain a friendship and allow an individual to be the way they are. I used to change guys that I dated. I would change their style, I would change their I would change what they wore, I would maybe change their hair a little bit, do all that kind of stuff. Did it work? It worked for me. Because it truly isn't about them. When you want somebody to change that you're involved with, it's not about that person. The person is happy the way they are. It's actually about me. It's about me being that individual that, saying that maybe they're not good enough the way they are, really. Right. But it's like, as you mature and as you, what I found is as I became more comfortable with who I am, I don't give a damn. You want to wear gingham, that's your business. You want to wear high waters, go for it. Because I'm not actually, like somebody had said to me years ago, by the time they take their clothes off and you're in bed together, it don't make no difference anyway, right?
Well, when you're spending your time and energy trying to get someone else to change, you're not working on you at all.
That's right.
You're
That's
not
exactly
growing.
right.
I have a can we curse on this?
You can do whatever you want.
I have a
Smash that.
t-shirt design that I made. It says, "What you eat won't make me shit."
Right.
And it's or sometimes I say, you can do push-ups and sit-ups all you want, but I'm not going to get a six-pack.
Right.
So me trying to get you to change, I need to work on me.
That's right.
And when I tried to change people, it never really worked. They might have changed to try to, please me or appease me or whatever. But over time, they resented me for it.
Right.
And they would, have an explosion at some point. I didn't really want to do this. I did that for you.
Right.
Know? Or vice versa. If I would change to make someone else happy, I wasn't happy.
Right.
So I've now learned, just let a person be themselves.
Yeah.
And you be yourself. I had a minister tell me this. I was in counseling many years ago, and he said, when you meet a person, however they are, if you can't accept them as that, don't be in a relationship with them. Right. And don't marry them. If you want them to change, don't be with them.
Right.
And that's kind of a rule I live by now.
Absolutely. I think that works. I am not interested in, I'm not interested in trying to change somebody. I'm interested in the person just where they are. I just leave them alone. And if I'm hanging out or I meet somebody that I don't like the way they are, I don't hang out with them anymore. I don't try to change them. I just don't hang out with them. Leave them alone. And
the best way to, I'm not going to say change a person, but the best way that you can influence a person to change is by leading an example, by who you are, and they observing and being around you, and they're going to, man, I want to be like this person. So all you got to do is just be great.
And so, inside of the book, Gary Zukov talks about our personalities, right? Our personalities. When we're actually, he actually talks about, I wish I had the book. It's so annoying that I left it at home. He talks about 5 senses, right? So as human beings, we have 5 senses, right? So I assert that he's talking about taste, touch, seeing. What else? Smell. And what else is it? And hearing, right? So those are our 5 basic human senses. But then he talks about people having multi-senses, which would be, those basic ones, and also the things, the intuition, being able to hear, feel, taste, smell, see things that we can't and we don't have words for. Right? Like being able to know that something is going to go the way it's going to go because you actually see it, but you can't articulate how you see it and how it's going to go, but you just know it's going to work out. I love that because I've experienced that many, many times. And what that comes down to is one of the things that he talks about. You have to be able to trust yourself, right? And not trust this. This is personality. This skin that I'm walking around in is my personality. Whereas in like my inner being that makes me right, that being that sees me whole and complete is my soul, right? And he talks about us having a mothership and we are like a part of the, I just really wish I had bought the book with me because I can't articulate it. I'm in one of those, I'm in that sensing space, right? I guess, and I guess it's perfect because I understand clearly everything that he's saying, but I can't articulate it because it's new, but it's old, right? It's also, he talks about, and I've always believed that we've had multiple lives, right? Multiple experiences. And this morning he was talking about, as I was listening to the book on my audio, it was talking about you might have an experience where you're mad, you're upset about something, and you don't know why you're upset. And what he was saying, because we've had so many multiple lifetimes, it might be an upset that you brought into the world with you. Right. I thought that was really fascinating because sometimes we are upset. Sometimes we are disappointed. Sometimes there's things that we cannot articulate that we're afraid of. And it's something that we never even encountered in this life, but we just know that we're afraid of it. It's things that we brought in. And like an example of that would be a young boy that I met about 3 weeks ago. Ron Foster's online, and Ron can attest to this. This little boy that we met who was a master piano player, right? He was only 11 years old. I think he started playing the piano at 6. Help me if I'm wrong. Ron. He's call in actually at 877-480-4120. This little boy started playing the piano at 6. He is playing. His grandma used to play, and he played a little bit with her, and then he got better than her in a year, right? Wow. Then he went to this special school conservatory, and he is better than the teachers, right? And he's playing like Chopin and Bach and all these I've never heard of, but I know that they're. And he says to me, "Do you want to go into YouTube and pull up me playing the piano?" Right? So I go into YouTube. I pull it up. This little boy is on the piano. His feet can't even touch the pedals. And his little hands are going crazy across the keys, right? That is a little boy to me. He said he learned to play the piano so well, like that he does concerts, and he's been on Great Britain's Got Talent and all these different shows in a short space of time. And he's only 11. And I know, just talking to him, the way I was talking to him, that he brought that gift in with him. And what happened was that grandma, just playing the piano the way she plays the piano, she helped him open it up. And I think that a lot of us have gifts and talents that we have brought in to our lives, but we have to start to trust ourselves. We have to start to listen to our intuition. We have to start to take those risks. And when we start to do that, it will open things up for us. And that's why I love reading this book, because every time I read it, I get a little kernel of something. And I really think that, everybody should pick it up. Thank you for that. So have you ever met anybody who's like super uber talented and they've just learned these skills in a short space of time?
Well, that's a hard one to answer.
Let me ask you another question. Let me ask you differently then. What's something that you didn't really trust that you had the ability to do, but you do have the ability to do it?
Coaching.
Right.
That was one thing that I didn't realize that I was good at it until people that I was coaching, even after our coaching term was over, would still call me for coaching.
Right.
And my friends would call me, a lot of people, and I was like, man, I must be kind of good at this. And people, even when I was doing it for free, people were like, hey, how much do you charge? And the first time that someone asked me that, I was like, I don't really know what to charge you. So,
well, I'm going to assert that you are good at what you do, because I worked with you for a short space of time. And in the short space of time, all my stuff about dating came up, and I got confronted about it. But I still took it because one of the things is what I love about being human is that, not that I've never been human, but what I love about being human is that we do get confronted. And what makes us really amazing is when we take on, be confronted, but still do it anyway. Right. And for me, it was frustrating. It was I went out on a date with a guy who showed up hours late. And I was like, I'm not going. And you were like, shut the hell up, just go.
Yeah.
Right. And it turned out to be a good date. But what I realized, what it was for me, it was like a door opener. Right. Because this guy showed up 3 hours late. I had a good time with him. And then we were supposed to go out on another date, and he didn't show up. And I was like, that's it. I'm writing men off. I'm done. I'm taking a break. Right. Then I went out. I put myself back together, forgot that I had spoken to somebody weeks and weeks ago. And I'm actually seeing that person. So you did actually open up the door. And this guy, had I not gone out with the guy that was the late show-upper, I would never have gone out with the guy, because the guy that I am actually going out with now, he showed up 30 minutes late to our date. And I was like, whatever.
I have a story. I wanted to answer the question you said earlier about, having an ability that you don't see. So it's about how I became a DJ.
Right.
I was 14, 15, and living in the projects in Atlanta, Georgia. And my DJ equipment, my turntables and my mixer was my escape from my awful childhood and reality. I would put my headphones on. I'd sit in my room and scratch and mix for hours every day. Right. That was my escape. And the kids would gather outside my window. I look out there because my bedroom was upstairs, and I see all these kids hanging out there listening to me DJ. And I just did this for fun every day. Like every day of the week, I did this 3-4 hours a day. So one day I walk out of the apartment, and some kid says, "Hey, man, are you the guy that's upstairs scratching and mixing all the time?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "How much would you pay me to DJ my party?" And I said, "I'm not a DJ." He said, "You're not a DJ, you up there mixing?" And he said, "I just do that for fun. I just practice."
Right.
He said, "I tell you what, bring your equipment to my house and practice, and I'll pay you." And I said, "Okay." And I was 15. I was the first, I made $50. And I was back in 1985. That was my first DJ job. And I ended up being a professional DJ. But I didn't know I had that ability.
Right.
Somebody else saw it in me.
Right.
I just did it for fun. So,
well, they usually say the thing that you do for fun that you enjoy doing is usually a thing that, you can actually make a living doing.
Yeah.
Because I love what I do, and I make a living doing what I do, and I think it's awesome.
So sometimes we're the last person to see something in ourselves.
Well, we can't see.
Right. You can't see it. Yeah. And other
Often-
people can see it right off the bat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
That little boy, I mean, somebody saw that he had the ability to play the piano and was teachable, and now he's teaching them.
A best friend is a good mirror.
Absolutely.
You
are my mirror.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
The best designs for your life start at home. I'm David Thiergartner, interior designer and host of At Home. Listen live Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time as we talk to the very best professionals about interior design and the design that's all around us, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
TalkingAlternative.com.
And we're back. We were talking about, was it poly cocktails? Poly cocktails, which is, was it like open relationship?
Yeah, open relationship community.
And so have you belonged to any communities?
I don't belong to any communities. I've joined a few groups online and Facebook, and and I know lots of people. I've been to some meetups and some swingers clubs, and I've explored some stuff, and it's a whole world out there. Let me tell you, it's a whole nother world.
Yeah, but I think, I'm not into swinging. I'm just like too phobic. I'm like, I don't want strange people's juices all over me. This kind of freaks me out.
You'll get to know them.
I know I'll get to know them, and everybody that we meet is a stranger in the beginning. Yes, I know it, but like, I'm just not into like, you know what? I mean, look, if I haven't made a commitment to you, like, and you haven't made a commitment to it, you're free to do whatever you want. Let me know what you want to do. We haven't made a commitment. Let me know what you're up to so that I can take care of myself.
So
that's the kind of way I see it.
So I'm going to tell a little story.
Sure,
I'm writing a book, and this is going to be one of the stories in my book. So for a year and a half, I DJ'd at a couple strip clubs. And we had this policy where I didn't put girls on the stage until we had a minimum of 5 people in the building, right? Okay. So one day I call, Bubbles to the stage or whoever, and she comes in the booth.
That's my online name,
to the
Bubbles.
stage? She says, we don't have 5 guys in here. I'm like, yeah, they do. And I'm pointing out. And so she says, he doesn't count because he's just a local drug dealer. He just brings us our drugs. That guy doesn't count because he's a regular, and he, so she's telling me and he's married, right? So here's the funny thing. The majority of the men that came to the strip club and was paying these girls for sex and doing stuff were married men.
Oh yeah,
and
I'm not
men in
surprised.
relationship. So my point is this. These women didn't know, wives didn't know that their husbands just said, hey, I'm going to go have a drink with the buddies at the bar.
Boys.
They didn't know they were at the strip club in VIP dropping $300. That happens a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm fully aware of that.
So my point is, a lot of people who think they're in monogamous relationships are not.
I got that.
And what we practice here in America is is serial monogamy. True monogamy is you mate with that one person for life. That's monogamy. We have serial monogamy where I'm with you for now, but if it doesn't go my way, then I'm going to be monogamous. That's not real monogamy. That's a version of it. So I came to this conclusion that I want to be in an open relationship, have freedom, because I'm seeing what people are doing. I've been behind the curtain, and I'm like, okay, you're going to do it anyway. Why not do it straight up? And I'll tell you this, I've lied and cheated, and I've been straight up with a girl saying, hey, I'm going to go see Sally today. And when I come back, me and you're going to, it's much better when you can just tell the truth.
I think it is straight. I
you know?
have dated, and I've said to the guy, like, if you're going to go out and do whatever you're going to do, go do it. Like, but just let me know. We don't have any solid commitments. We're just hanging. We're just hanging until we're hanging. But I think that it's more, if a person's honest and open about what they're up to, I think it's much more healthier. And if you disagree, you should call at 877. Was it 877-480-4120? My eyesight is getting worse.
When you have to lie, and players, all those players out there can testify to this. When you're lying, that's a lot of work to hide that and cover your trail. And you got to turn your cell phone over and put, like, if the girl's named Tanya, you got to put Tommy in the phone, and it's a lot of work to cover your tracks. And
so we were talking about prostitution on the way up, right? So I believe that prostitution should be legalized. What do you think?
Of course.
Can I run for president? No, I'm not. I'm a foreigner. I can't run for president.
I read something a couple years ago that said there was like 16 million prostitutes worldwide, right? And I'm thinking, who's paying for all
16 million? That doesn't sound like
16 million.
That doesn't sound like very much.
Sounds like a lot to me.
Worldwide?
That's the number they can count. Probably a whole lot more of that going on. But just imagine if each one of them has a couple customers. That's a lot of men paying, or women or whatever, paying for sex. Yeah. Right. So my point I'm getting at is it's happening.
Well,
whether we want to admit it or not.
I think that prostitution should be legal. Why do I think it should be legal? I think that women should have the right to do whatever they want to do with their bodies. And I don't think that, men too, but mostly when you think of prostitution, they think of women, right?
Yes.
Yes, there are a lot of, but they're called probably gigolos or something else, right?
Yeah.
And it's probably like, was it April? Was that term they use? December, May relationships, like older woman, younger man. So it doesn't kind of sort of count that way, right?
Right.
And I think that there's probably more female prostitutes because we need money men need money too, but I think that sometimes that's the only way that a woman feels that she can actually make a living, right? Or survive, because it's usually
an easy way.
Right. And there's different levels. We're always thinking of the lower level. We're never thinking of the higher level, the ones that get thousands of dollars. We're always thinking of, like, when you think of prostitute, you automatically probably think about the girl around the corner or the woman that's down the block kind of thing. So I think that I personally think that it should be legalized. It should be practiced healthy. They should have a license. They should have checks, and they should pay taxes on it.
Well, it hasn't always been illegal. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, outside in the deserts and stuff like that.
No, here for a while it was the norm for a man to go visit, the brothel.
Tell me more about that.
Because your wife was the goody two-shoe woman that took care of the kids and all that. And when you needed to, express that
It's
your
like
lower self,
is it like the Madonna syndrome?
You go out and you go do that elsewhere. Like that was.
I won't want my. I won't.
Yeah.
Back in the day, back in the day, right? They're still doing it now with the even with the advent of. I know they were doing it before AIDS and things like that, but with the advent of, I wonder if they've
You've
still
never
doing
heard that they're saying like the first business was the farmer and the prostitute was the second.
Possibly.
They're saying that's how it went. So it's been around a long.
Oh, it's been around
time.
since dirt. Prostitution has been around since dirt.
Yeah.
It's as long as, well, even better than that, as long as there's been women with vaginas, there has been prostitution.
Time.
It's fair trade.
Yeah. So men, as you already know this, men are constantly producing.
So let's talk about women. We're we're always talking about men being the dirty cheaters. Let's talk about the new age, women.
Oh, they're doing it.
Yeah.
Women are just sneakier, like cats.
Smarter. I'd like to say
right?
smarter.
Men, we just stupid with it. We just lose our minds and we just, we do dumb stuff, dumb shit.
Uh-huh.
But women are clever and a woman, when she's gonna cheat, she's gonna plan it out right and do it nice. And men, we just in the back of Starbucks, we don't care, we just
speak for your bloody self.
We're anywhere, the storeroom at Sears,
So it's in the moment.
Well, we are just not as selective as women are, and we're just raw. Men are just more base,
more animal.
Yeah, more base, more animal, and we don't care. When that urge kicks in, we got to get it. I'm working on a cartoon. You're gonna love this, and I haven't told anybody. So this is the first time.
You're telling a whole heap of people, and
I'm working on this cartoon about that, about how my sexual desire has affected my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a cartoon, and it's me and my penis,
right?
But my penis is a person.
Okay.
And this whole cartoon is about the adventures of me and my penis going out doing this stuff. And he's always trying to get him some kitty cat.
Right.
But he never gets any. And he always messes it up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole premise of it. So it's gonna be really funny.
So what are you gonna call it?
Mike and Big Rich. So Big Rich he's gonna be bigger than me. He's gonna be tall. He's gonna be big, and like every episode.
Is he gonna be long with little arms he's gonna be like a little shirt?
And he's gonna always be trying to, But that's what we do as men. We're always trying to get it, and we, and.
When do you think men actually stop being men actually stop being run by their penis? Do you think
when they decide to?
Uh-huh.
There's some men that they're players to their grave. They never give it up. For me, I drove a cab. I got many lives. I was a cab driver for a year and a half in my early 20s, and this minister who ministered to men in jail and all that, as he was getting out of my taxi cab, he said, "Listen here, young man, I want to give you some good advice." He said, "When you can learn to control your dick, you can do anything."
Uh-huh.
And it took me about 23 years later to actually get control of it, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's right." So I give that.
So what would you say to a young man out now that you're older, and what would you say to a young man out there about his penis?
When you can say no to sex and have nothing going on about it, that's power. You know what I mean? When you can have women wanting it and you're like, "No, I'm cool. I just want to be your friend," and not, do get up 3 o'clock in the morning and drive all the way across town because some girl called you. "I'm hot and horny." "What? I'll be right there." So you gotta don't let that drive your life, man. Many, I believe more men have been taken out by women than sex, drugs, alcohol, and gambling, all that combined. Because that's probably the number one addiction right there.
Okay,
we love the kitty cat.
So Mike, I just want to thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
And thank you for being my friend. It's really, really means a lot to me.
You're a good friend.
Oh, thanks.
Friend. Thank you.
And I hope you feel better.
I will. The time zone kind of hit me hard. Time change.
Good. Did you enjoy the show?
I did. It was great.
It goes really fast, right?
It does. I have to come back next time.
And you can come back and tout your book. Pitch your book.
I will.
All right.
I'll be back. Trust me. I got big things coming down the line.
So we're looking forward to Mike and Big Rich.
Yeah, Mike and Big Rich. Get ready for it.
All right, guys.
All
Thank
right.
you for joining in. And this is Noreen Sumter from Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way. And we're signing off, and I'll see you next week. Have a great one. Hi, Clariville. Hi, John.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.